Hello and welcome to How to Play Whiskey Poker, presented by GatherTogetherGames.com. This video will cover how to play the card game Whiskey Poker. The video will start with the general concepts and gameplay and then get into more of the details for the game. To play, you will need a standard 52 card deck and something to ante with, such as poker chips. Before the cards are dealt, each player will put an ante into the pot. Each player and a widow hand are dealt 5 cards. The widow hand is dealt just before the dealer. The object of the game is to win the pot by having the best 5-card poker hand at the end of the round. The poker hands are ranked, with best being a straight flush, which is 5 cards in sequence in the same suit, then 4 of a kind, then a full house, which is 3 of a kind with a pair. If multiple players have a full house, the player with the best 3 of a kind wins the hand. Then a flush, which is 5 cards in the same suit. Then a straight, which is 5 cards in sequence. Then a 3 of a kind. Then 2 pair. Then a pair. And last, high card. Ace is always high. Going back to the hand that was dealt earlier, I have flipped up each player's cards for you to see. In an actual game, you will keep your cards hidden from the other players. The widow hand remains face down in the middle. Starting with the player left of the dealer, players will have the option to switch their hand for the widow hand, or pass on switching. Here, player 2 passes on switching hands. The option moves clockwise left. Players 3, 4, and 1 all choose to pass on switching hands. After each player has passed, the widow hand is flipped up for every player to see. Now, starting with the player left of the dealer, each player has 4 options. A player can switch all 5 cards for the 5 widow cards. A player can take 1 card from the widow hand and switch it for 1 card in hand. A player can pass on making a switch, or a player can knock. Player 2 will take the jack from the widow hand and switch it for the 5 in hand. Play moves to player 3, who has the same options. Player 3 will take the 5 from the widow hand and switch it for the jack in hand. Play moves to player 4. Player 4 will take the 3 and give up the 10. Player 1 will take the queen and give up the 5. Play moves back to player 2. Player 2 still has the 4 options to choose from. This time player 2 knocks. Knocking means that a player is sticking with their hand. After a player knocks, all other players get 1 more turn to make a switch or pass on switching. Player 3 will pass. Player 4 will take the king for the jack in hand. Player 1 will take a jack for the 8 in hand. When play returns to the player that knocked, the round is over. Players will show their hands, and the player with the best poker hand wins the pot. Player 3 and player 4 both have full houses. Player 3 wins the pot as the 3 of a kind of 6s within the full house outranks player 4's 3 of a kind of 3s within his full house. The deal moves left for the next round. If a player switches for the widow hand on his or her first turn, the player's hand is placed in the middle face up, and play continues with players having the 4 options. If a player knocks on his or her first turn, the widow hand is flipped up, and each other player gets 1 more turn. A knock is a player's turn. No card switches can occur for the player that is knocking. That wraps up how to play Whiskey Poker. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and get more game tutorials by subscribing to our channel, Gather Together Games. Thanks for watching.